All right, gather round the campfire, everyone. Tonight, I've got a story of quiet heroism from the Cold War era. It's about a man named Vasily Arkhipov, whose calm and steadfast decision-making saved the world from a nuclear disaster. This is a tale of incredible courage and the power of one person's actions to change the course of history. Let's set the scene. It's October 1962, and the world is on the brink of nuclear war. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in the Cuban Missile Crisis, a tense standoff over Soviet nuclear missiles stationed in Cuba. The world holds its breath as these two superpowers face off, each threatening to unleash their nuclear arsenals. Amidst this global tension, a Soviet submarine known as B-59 is patrolling the waters near Cuba. On board are Captain Valentin Savitsky, political officer Ivan Semyonovich Maslenikov, and second-in-command Vasily Arkhipov. The crew of B-59 is unaware of the full scope of the crisis unfolding above them, but they know that their mission is critical. As the submarine moves through the Caribbean, it finds itself being pursued by American naval forces. The U.S. Navy, trying to force the submarine to surface, begins dropping depth charges, small explosives intended to signal the submarine to come up. Inside B-59, the situation is dire. The crew is exhausted, the temperature inside the sub is soaring, and communication with Moscow is lost. The men aboard believe that war might have already broken out. In this suffocating environment, Captain Savitsky becomes convinced that they are under attack. Believing that World War III has begun, he decides that they must retaliate with their most powerful weapon, a nuclear torpedo. Firing this torpedo would almost certainly trigger a full-scale nuclear war. Here's where Vasily Arkhipov's heroism comes into play. As the second-in-command and flotilla commander, Arkhipov's approval is needed to launch the torpedo. Despite the overwhelming pressure and the chaos inside the submarine, Arkhipov remains calm. He understands the gravity of the situation and the catastrophic consequences of launching a nuclear weapon. Arkhipov steps in and argues against launching the torpedo. He insists that they surface and await orders from Moscow rather than act on what could be a catastrophic misunderstanding. Despite the tense atmosphere and the fear that war has already begun, Arkhipov's reason and restraint prevail. Eventually, he convinces Captain Savitsky to surface the submarine and await further instructions. When B-59 surfaces, it becomes clear that the world is not yet at war. The submarine's crew is met by American ships, but conflict is averted. Arkhipov's decisive action and clear-headedness have prevented what could have been an unimaginable disaster. The Cuban Missile Crisis eventually ends through diplomacy, with both the United States and the Soviet Union reaching an agreement to de-escalate the situation. The world breathes a collective sigh of relief, but few know just how close we came to nuclear annihilation.